What's up, guys? You are listening to HVAC Masters of the Hustle podcast. And this is your host, J Dub Moneymaker in the hot seat. And welcome to episode 87. First off, I want to say thank you for everyone that reaches out to me every week and truly tells me how this podcast brings you and your company to the next level. And for all my new listeners out there, make sure you guys smash the subscribe button and make sure you guys tell anyone and everyone who you know in the HVAC industry about this podcast. Because like I said, this is helping thousands and thousands and thousands of people get to the next level. And I say this all the time. I believe that everyone has a Spartan in them. It's my job, my duty, my obligation to bring that out in you. And man, do we have a great episode for you guys today. So I've been out to his facility in Denver, Colorado. He has a great company. He's the owner of Premier Heat and Air. Let's go ahead and welcome Reed Borton. How you doing, brother?
What's up, man? Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely, man. So tell my listeners a little bit about yourself and how you got into the HVAC industry.
Yeah, so, basically I kind of started off, knocking on doors, pounding pavement, kind of took that as a job in college, just working for a small startup company up in Fort Collins, Colorado. I kind of did that for a couple summers, just kind of, working through it, getting through school and everything. I started making some really good money. It was one of those jobs that was really good, while I was in school, just kind of, working in the evenings on the weekend. And then, once I did that for a little bit, I got offered a sales position with that same company kind of after I graduated school and everything. And, at the time, I wasn't really sure, if the sales was, something that I could do, but I just kind of figured, I'd give it a shot, and kind of see what happens, but yeah, I got into that. The owner, it was Swan Heating and Air, Tim Swan up in Loveland. He kind of gave me that shot, and he basically taught me everything about sales and how to run a HVAC company and everything as far as that goes. And it was a smaller company. I think at the time when I was kind of working for him, he was kind of running out of his garage, and it was one of those things where when I first started, it was just kind of doing a little bit of everything. Helping out on installs, picking up supplies, just whatever I needed to do, that's what I want to do, working trade shows. I think I was even, like painting the office at one point.
Yeah. So bringing you back real quick before we get into a little bit more of your story is starting with, first off, door knocking, right?
Yep.
Hitting the pavement. That is a hard job to do, is overcoming getting doors slammed in your face, right?
It is. Yeah.
So maybe some of my business owners out there maybe spend marketing dollars and have a canvas team, right?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like, you knocking on doors, hitting the pavement, something that you got really good at. Can you maybe give my listeners maybe a little bit of tip of maybe how to engage at the door with the homeowner when you are doing that door knocking process?
Yeah. It is definitely, a little bit tougher, but, I think it's really good training when you're trying to get into sales, because like you said, you're going to be hearing the no a little bit more, but, just don't be afraid. Go and knock on the door, and, you're not really selling anything when you're kind of canvassing, you're just signing up estimates, and just kind of go from there. But yeah, don't be afraid. Just go up there and, knock on the door and just kind of, ask them, sign up a free estimate. I mean, do what you got to do there.
Yeah. And, for some of my listeners that are listening, business owners or management, one thing that I've worked at a company and we had a canvassing team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that they would do is 5 can tune-ups, right? So
Yep.
because this company was in the community for such a long time, they wanted to give back to the homeless in
Mm-hmm.
this greater Sacramento area. So for 5 cans donated of food, you'd get a tune-up, right? So let me tell you guys, that got me into a lot of houses and it got me in front of a lot of homeowners. And these were
Yep.
homeowners that didn't know they had a filter. They never had their system looked at or serviced, right? So they were
Mm-hmm.
good, but I had to really sharpen my the tools that I had, because I'm going in there for 5 cans, my technician's turning it over, and then I'm walking out with a $15,000 sale, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's some things that people are doing. I just wanted to drop that little nugget real quick. But
Yeah.
continuing your story, Reed, go ahead.
Yeah. So, like I said, I mean, I was just kind of, willing to do a little bit of everything. I think that's
Hmm.
something everybody, when you go into any position, just be willing to kind of learn and absorb as much as you can. Um, but yeah, another thing, I was kind of helping him, establish his company a little bit. It was a really small company when I started with him, but it was really cool to kind of see it, start from the bottom and kind of work your way up there.
Hmm. And
But
how old
yeah,
were you at that time?
man, that was a long time ago. I think, probably 22, 23, something like that. So
Okay, 22,
yeah,
23.
yep, young and dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, we
So
all
yeah,
make stupid mistakes, right? But
yeah.
yeah, so moving on, what was your takeaway working with someone that was kind of at a new startup as well, and helping grow that company?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely learned a lot, from him. He was, I mean, he was, as far as sales goes, I mean, he was on top of it. And he kind of, he showed me, what you're supposed to do, and just, going in and really asking for the sale and going through the whole process, and from beginning to end. But yeah, I mean, owning a small company like that, it was really cool to see see it go from what it was to, now he's, one of the bigger companies out here in Colorado. So, it's pretty impressive to kind of see that transition there.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Hmm.
then seeing and learning that, when was it that you ended up taking off and doing your own thing?
Yeah. So I mean, I did, I kind of did sales for him for probably about 2 or 3 years. Just really kind of learning everything that I could.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I did kind of get to that point where, and that's kind of the whole reason why I went to school, was to start my own thing. But yeah, at that point, that's really when I kind of made that move, to start my own company.
And when you were going to college, I have to ask this. So you're going to
Hmm.
college, right? You get introduced as being a door knocker, hitting
Yeah.
the pavement, you go out running, you're very successful at it. You get promoted once you graduate to a sales position, right?
Yeah.
Did you know that you're going to open your own HVAC company, or did it kind of just fall in place and it was like, okay, this is what I have a passion for. This is what I'm going to try.
Yeah. I mean, I went to school, because I wanted to start my own company at some point, but I didn't think it was going to be a HVAC company by
Yeah.
no means. But yeah, it just kind of evolved in that manner. And, I that first year when I really started to, you know, get really good at sales and really start to understand the industry,
Hmm.
that's when it kind of really started to click for me that, yeah, I mean, this is a good industry. I can make a lot of money doing this. So, yeah, that's kind of when it, clicked in my mind.
And you found the hidden gem, bro.
Yep.
I tell everyone
It is.
this industry is a hidden gem. No one ever thinks of the potential, but the potential that it has, holy cow, right?
Yep.
So
It's
so
amazing.
when you were a sales guy or a comfort advisor in the selling role, what was
Hmm.
kind of, being new to the industry, everything, what was your biggest hurdle that you had to overcome? And what did you do to kind of correct that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it was, just kind of learning the products, the industry a little bit.
Mhm.
I had a little bit of construction background, so it came a little bit easier for me. But there was definitely a lot of ins and outs. But I think the main hurdle for me was just kind of, you especially first getting into it, you don't know if you're going to be able to sell or not. But then even after you've been doing it for a little while, sometimes you kind of hit that little bit of a lull, and you
Mhm.
kind of still question it. Those
Yeah.
first couple years, you'll kind of fall into a slump a little bit, and then you're like, I don't even know if I can sell anymore. And then just kind of like working through that. But yeah, that's probably the biggest obstacle, I think.
Staying out of your head, absolutely, man.
Yep.
And talking about staying out of your head and your mindset right now, it's a good time to talk about it right now on the podcast because we're
Hmm.
entering shoulder season, right? So I don't know how
Yep.
it is in Denver, but right now in California, it's called our shoulder season. So this is when
Yeah.
temperatures is, 70 to 80 degrees and no one uses their system. So what type of urgency are we going to create while we're at the appointments, right?
Right.
Is very, very key, very, very important to take your time, you know, stay out of your head. I talk about that whole process thing, taken away from your process. Anyone could sell in the middle of summer, right? But when
Hmm.
it comes down to the nitty gritty of the first quarter or shoulder seasons, that really separates the men from the boys, I would say.
Right.
So as of, your company and everything like that, moving from the sales role, and your company now, how
Hmm.
long have you been in business? How long have you been working for yourself? And what was the numbers you did your first year starting off?
Yeah. So started the company back in 2009. It was me and actually one other guy that started the company originally. But yeah, I think the first year, we started in June, and it's not really like the best time of year. I mean, you're kind of going into summer, but we kind of missed a little bit of that, that summer rush.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the first few months there, I think we did 750,000, something like that, and we were both kind of into sales and everything. And so, but even with all that, I mean, that first kind of year or two, definitely going through a little bit of struggles and just kind of learning, how to run a business. Selling HVAC is that's the first part of it, but you also have to figure out, how am I going to install this system, like just working through all those different things. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And what was it that drove you to say, you know what? I'm going all in on this. I'm going to start my own thing because that's a really big leap of faith, right?
Hmm.
To take all your eggs and put it on all in one basket and leaving a company that you were making great money at.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is a little risky, kind of making that move. But I think ultimately, when you want to kind of do something and you want to do it your own way, you kind of take all those things that you learn and kind of apply that, and then you get an opportunity to do it your own way when you own the company. I mean, you
Mhm.
have all the risk and all the reward, but it's at least it's kind of your way, and you get to do it like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So your first year was 2009, did 750. What has
Hmm.
been your growth since then, and what are you projecting and hoping to get? Or we'll talk about your goals in a second, but what were
Yeah.
you projecting? how far was your growth percentage wise after every year, the last 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, every year, that first 5 or 6 years, we were growing quite a bit every year, and then after it was probably after, about 6 or 7 years, you kind of hit a little bit of a flat spot, and we were still doing really good and making some good money and everything like that. But, I think it gets a little bit stagnant, and you kind of have to change it up a little bit. So, I ended up, buying out my business partner a few years ago. And ever since then, between now and then, we basically doubled. I think we topped out a little over three after about 5 or 6 years. And then, we since a few years ago when that happened, basically we're about double since then. So
Nice. Great
yep.
job, man. And the driving force of that growth, what would you say the driving force is? What were you really focusing on once you
hmm
were, on that drive train of success?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of different things there. I mean, um, we hopped on with Service Titan a little over a couple of years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and that was definitely a game changer. You know, that whole software program is pretty amazing. But then a lot of it is building up our team. I hired a couple really good people kind of outside of the industry,
Mm-hmm.
and my marketing director, sales manager, GM, they kind of brought in a little bit of that knowledge and experience kind of outside of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of it is just trying new ideas. I mean, we were constantly just trying to innovate a little bit, try different things out, see what works, what doesn't, kind of stepping away from like the traditional things that work, even though
Mm-hmm.
they work, trying to be a little more creative with that. So, but yeah, now we're kind of at that point where we're getting back to narrowing it down to the good stuff, the stuff, the tried and
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, right, right. The tried and true, absolutely. So,
Yep.
I know I was just at your company about a month ago, and
Yeah.
what I've noticed is your culture, right? You have an
hmm
excellent culture at your company, and that comes from a lot of your employees I've noticed have been maybe someone that you've known for quite some time and everything like that. But then you also have
hmm
guys that you haven't known, but you still keep that really good positive culture. And it feels like you've been buddies with your employees for a long time, right? So,
Yeah.
how important is having a good culture at a company or your company? And how do you create a culture like that?
Yeah. I mean, it's crucial. I mean, it's probably the most important thing. And we've always had a pretty good culture, but I think this year we really made a push to emphasize that. And a lot of it comes back to really figuring out exactly what you want to do, what the company is all about, and hiring and recruiting those people that kind of have similar beliefs and
Mhm.
goals and things like that. But really, a lot of it comes back to the training like we did with you, a few weeks ago, and kind of reinvesting. I'm kind of all in on all of our employees and training and just supporting them and everything, and trying to get them to progress, personally and professionally, just keep improving in that aspect. But yeah, I mean, we all got to work, we all have to take care of things, but it doesn't have to suck. I mean, keeping it fun, energetic, keeping a positive light on everything. That's something that we really try to do here, and just make it fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one thing you said was investing in your employees, right? Trainings
hmm
and everything like that. We just said I was at your company about a month ago. I spent the week with your guys. What would you say your biggest takeaway that week was as a business owner?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just, having that focus on training, but um, really the ride-alongs. I mean, that's something we've been really good at after that. Being consistent with the training, I think that's something we really took from that. Taking it serious, you know, and everybody kind of responded to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, hey, we're going to do a meeting or a training here and there. It's like, nope, every week we'll be here, and these are the things we're going to be working on. Really keeping it structured and having that
Absolutely.
plan, and getting the guys aligned with that and all their goals and everything.
Yeah. Since the training, what has the growth been within the last couple months with your technicians? One thing you discussed was your technicians are killing it.
Yeah, yeah, it's incredible to really see what those guys are, how they're responding, and it's almost night and day. I mean, they show up every day and they got a smile on their face, and they're going out. I think we've been averaging about 12 tech turnovers every week now.
Nice.
Before, I mean, we would get maybe one or two, and these are all on tune ups and a lot of existing customers, fall maintenance type of stuff. So yeah, but it's incredible. I mean, a lot of it is their attitude, and how they're accepting the training and really utilizing everything that we're talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, you could train until you're blue in the face, but until someone implements and goes out there and actually
Hmm.
does it right. So that
Yeah.
I love hearing that after I leave, you're maintaining that weekly training that I told you guys to do. The
Hmm.
guys are happy. They're coming in with a smile. I mean, that just speaks volumes right there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Going over your goals, we talked about the last couple years, your numbers and everything like that.
Hmm.
What's your goals for 2021?
Yeah. So 21, I think we talked about it, but we're going for that 10 to 12 million range,
Absolutely.
and
Boom. No, we're
yep,
gonna get 10 to 12 million.
we are. Yep. So
So
yeah,
that's
I mean
that's where you want to get 10 to 12 million next year. What do you
mhm.
think is going to be the biggest change you have to do to get to that level?
I mean, a lot of it starts with what we're doing right now, and we're really setting that foundation that we can build on, and being consistent with the training and the meetings, setting up goals and tracking exactly what everybody's doing.
Mhm.
That just really having that direction is is a big part of it, but another big thing for us was, setting up our team for success, our management team, having all the right pieces in the right place so that,
Yeah.
that when the foundation is set, I mean, the only direction to go is up, right?
Oh no, absolutely. That's the only way you should be going up, right?
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely. Talking more of processes and procedures and the importance as a business owner to make
Hmm.
sure that you have the right processes and procedures. You're answering the phone right. They're sending out the technician. He's getting there on time, right? How
Hmm.
important is it to lay down a good foundation of processes and procedures so really no one's dropping the ball, right? It's a nice, easy transition between department and department.
Yeah. I mean, that's so important, and that's been a big thing that we've been emphasizing too. Um, having a organizational chart, that everybody kind of knows where they fit in, and then those processes and procedures, you know exactly what you need to do your job right. And so when you
Mhm.
do your job right, you do the right thing. I mean, good things happen, and that's that consistency. And then we've also kind of laid out job descriptions for every position within the company so that everybody knows exactly how they're supposed to do things. um, you know, Manuals and different things like that that really just lay out exactly how you're supposed to do it. So there's no kind of guesswork there.
Yeah, no, I love hearing that. And
Mm-hmm.
the importance of when I was out there was creating a good process and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when we were out there, we talked about the Spartan brag bag and actually showing the
Yeah.
homeowners the visuals and not deviating from your process or anything like
Hmm.
that. Have you guys been working on the Spartan stuff, and how's that been going on the backside of everything with the employees?
Yeah. So we still need to get. I love the brag bag. I mean, we're kind of still working on that, but the um, testimonials, that's something all the guys are working on.
Perfect. I love
Getting
hearing
building
that.
those. Exactly. Yeah. And when you have extra time and maybe you're not running appointments or you're not fully booked for the day, getting out to those installs, following back up with old clients, and really building that. And that's something. I mean, I love that about your training and exactly what you brought up there.
Nice water right there. You just made me thirsty.
Yeah, gotta stay hydrated.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And with this year being as crazy as it is,
Hmm.
one thing that you and I talked about was even though we had this craziness of COVID and everything, you've actually had some of your best months the last couple months. Am I correct?
Yeah, yeah. This year has been. I mean, when everything kind of first happened, we were freaking out just like everybody else was. But
Yeah,
we kind of started to adapt, and it's like, hey, we're gonna try to make the most of this. Be safe, stock up on all the PPE, adjust our process and everything. Just kind of adapt to what was going on. But yeah, I mean, this year has been, we're way up from last year, and we're still just kind of cranking along, and it's amazing. I mean, we're definitely fortunate that we're in an industry that we're in need, we're essential, but I think it's
absolutely.
something. Yeah, I mean, we kind of keep moving on with it, and I think moving forward our industry is always going to be essential.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And first off, I gotta say I love the name of your company, Premier Heating and Air, right? When I
Yeah.
was
Thank
at
you.
your company, it was very easy to sell because I'm always talking about a premier service, right? We're your premier
Yeah.
HVAC company. So I gotta ask you, where did your name come from, Premier Heating and Air?
I mean, I kind of went through a few different things, just trying to convey, that higher level of quality, kind of that standard of, excellence. And, this is kind of the one that I landed on, Premier. I mean, the name says it all, right?
No, absolutely. The name says it all. And that's what I say when I was in the house. I mean, the name says it
Yeah.
all, right?
Yeah.
Rob and Betty, we're not here to guess with your hard earned money. We're a premier company. We're going to
Yeah.
stand behind our name 100%, right?
Exactly.
Rita, let me ask you, being a business owner the last 10 years,
Hmm.
have you been in any type of situation that, as a business owner, which is like a horror story? And how did you overcome that type of scenario?
Yeah. I mean, this year there's been, seems like almost everything that could go wrong has gone wrong,
Couple
but
flooded houses and then
yeah, yeah. But it's, I think early on when you're starting a company, everything is just kind of like happening to you, and you're not really proactive from it, but you are proactive about it, but you kind of learn from those things, and after you've been doing it for a little while, we've kind of built a better process to be proactive about it. You expect, I mean, things are going to happen, like people say. I mean, we're in construction, things are going to go wrong, but that's why you have things in place to kind of handle it when it does go wrong. And,
absolutely.
that's why you have insurance.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And I gotta say, the reason why you're in the hot seat, brother, is because you started your company from scratch, right? And when
Hmm.
I met you, I was very impressed with the way that you see your business, the way that you see your employees, the way that you see your clients, right? You
Hmm.
put everyone first, right? First off, and that's really helped elevate your company to the next level where 10 years ago you're doing 750 and now you're tracking to do 10 to 12 million, right? So
Mm-hmm.
hats off to you, brother. Absolutely
Thank you.
amazing out there. So for my listeners out here, you know, Premier Heat and Air in Denver, Colorado, if you haven't heard about them, make sure you look them up. You know, Reed, I got listeners from business owners, dispatchers, service technicians, comfort advisors. What would you like for them to get out of this episode of HVAC Masters of the Hustle?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is, you know, no matter where you come from or what you want to do, you know, everything is possible, especially in this industry. But, you know, you just have to be consistent and willing to put in the work every day, and, you know, you will achieve your goals.
Absolutely, brother. Well, thanks for being a guest in the hot seat. Until next time, brother. I
All right.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.